game for TVP. Like, you can absolutely get your 3 bases easily. Taking that 4th is tough. And, I mean, Protoss can play refugee style, you know, having bases all over the place, running around while you're chasing their bases. And it can be difficult. And we've seen Stork, as you were talking about earlier, just have a crazy good PVT there against Last recently, who's considered the second best Terran on Earth right now.
Yeah, just fantastic control. Well, we're going into that Protoss versus Protoss first, guys, to decide who will face off against Effort in that winners match for a shot at the finals. Protoss versus Protoss, such a fun matchup to watch, but not as much as the player, I feel, oftentimes. Very difficult to make decisions.
Yes.
In terms of risk versus reward in this matchup. It's very much a haves and have-nots in terms of tech and Dragoon count.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It's really funny, all the different things that can occur here, right? Like, you can open up very safely by getting your Robo, but if your opponent just makes a Nexus, then suddenly you're in this position where you're like, did I scout this quickly enough that I can make a Nexus and not feel far behind, or do I go with a Reaver all in? You know, it can be difficult because of moves like that.
Yeah, certainly. Well, we have to talk about Stork's storied history. Of course, this guy has also won an OSL. In fact, when he won that OSL, he went through best in the semifinals of 2008, so defeated him on his way. He's also a WCG and BlizzCon champion, and I know a lot of people nowadays who didn't follow StarCraft way back when don't really know about WCG, maybe don't think it's as prestigious as like an OSL. It's not as prestigious, but for the global community, it was considered very, very prestigious. That's where players like you were trying to go to the finals every time.
Well, for foreigners, WCG was the #1 thing. It was more of a side thing out here. It was definitely played. The best players always came.
And they always took it very seriously as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, they were playing their best games, absolutely. But, yeah, it was like the only real tournament for foreign pros, so definitely an important one, and I'm glad to see that people still list that as an accomplishment, because you know what, it is.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it's fantastic to see, you know, players with different achievements here. Best has never actually won an OSL. He doesn't have that same title. He did make a grand finals, was actually defeated there.
But this guy, Cheong, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And this guy is a fantastic Pro League player, though.
Yeah.
Then the thing is, people don't remember Pro League. I think a lot of newer StarCraft fans, especially StarCraft 2 fans, are kind of taking a look back at Brood War, but Pro League was the next biggest thing next to Star League. You were able to increase your salary based on how many times you appeared in Pro League, how well you did in Pro League. And Pro League was a tournament where all the big money came in because you had big sponsors. The Kespa teams were telecom companies, shipbuilding companies. Samsung we're talking about.
Yeah.
Best was on SKT. You have this this incredible amount of pressure to play that best of one in front of a huge crowd with all that sponsorship money on the line. So
that's really what propped up the pro scene out here, to be honest, is Pro League.
Yeah, because that's where you got consistent appearances of the best players.
Yeah, and I want to add one more quick thing to that before we talk about Neo Medusa. Being a strong Protoss in Pro League was the most valuable thing you could be back in the day, because we didn't have that many top-end Protosses. So, like, you got a lot of play time if you were a top-end Protoss, and Best absolutely one of those.
Well, this map is insanely Protoss favored in the Protoss versus Terran matchup, but since it's a Protoss versus Protoss, it will not matter. This is not necessarily going to matter for the rest of the tournament either. It just depends on who makes that finals, because they will have map pick, and this is in the pool. Yeah. But for this Protoss versus Protoss, it is going to be really important. The map, the way you can scout, actually, by getting to the back of the base will be very important for seeing how this goes. So this is kind of going to be, in terms of vision, very easy to determine what the opponent is doing. So that's actually why it's such a great map to start Protoss versus Protoss. It eliminates a lot of the random factors here.
Well, you know, Neo Medusa, one other thing to add about this as well, there is no ramp going to the main base, so you have to be much more careful with your openings. Like, a strong ground-based opening can bust through if you're trying to skimp at all on units.
Yeah, you need to have a lot of Dragoons, but guys, we're going to go into this match, Stork versus Best, to find out who will face Effort in just a moment's time. Let's jump into our second game of the evening here right now. Protoss spawning at this location here to the top left. Best putting it is spawn will be at the bottom of the map, just for color clarification, as this is a mirror matchup. And don't be confused by the white box you see on the minimap. That is actually the first-person viewpoint of Best. Can always be a little bit confusing in Remastered because you see the overlaying boxes there. It just shows the smaller one is what Best is playing, which also indicates he is playing in 4x3.
Yeah, that's always a fun thing for me to look at. Which pros play in 4x3 and which pros play in, what is it, 16:9?
Yeah.
That's the other one.
It's really interesting because for me, I played a lot in both when Remastered came out. I find it's easier to macro on gateways. It feels more familiar on a smaller screen, but because you don't have to, it feels like you have to drag over less. I don't know how to explain it.
Yes.
But you get like a field of vision advantage if you play 16:9.
Yeah, that part is true. I've talked with quite a few foreign pros about this aspect, and I've tried it out myself and stuff, and I think that for professional play, 4x3 might actually be slightly better. Just kind of based on you scroll your screen a lot with the mouse in StarCraft 1 because you don't have enough hotkeys. Like in StarCraft 2, I never scroll my screen. I almost never do it. You can jump everywhere with hotkeys. You have a million billion hotkeys, and it's unlimited, right? So you can have your whole army on it. Here, you got units everywhere. You got to actually move your screen a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
So
you can't
just kind of an interesting thing about it.
Yeah, you can't select all your gateways, put them on a hotkey, and just basically right-click them somewhere to rally across the map as well. I play in widescreen myself because it's more familiar to me in terms of games I played more recently, like StarCraft 2, which I played about as much as I played Brood War, but obviously played more recently, so muscle memory was a factor. So identical openings here so far for these two players. Looks like just 10 gates into Cybernetics core. We'll have to wait and see what their follow-up plans are. A faster scout coming out for Stork.
Okay, we'll see where he wants to go with that. This is going to be pretty fun, man. And Medusa, definitely one of the more interesting maps in my opinion. I've always really enjoyed watching pro games here, although being a Terran player, not the biggest fan of playing here against Protoss, as you mentioned about those statistics previously. But it looks like Stork going to scout in the right direction. Best not able to do so.
Yeah. Take a look at first or face cams here. Stork looks a little bit pressured.
How embarrassing! They wore the same jacket today.
Oh man, that's the worst. You and I at least have different colors on our shirts.
Yeah, I don't know if people can see that, but guys, by the way, spread the word about this. A lot of people don't realize that this wonderful tournament is happening. We are nowhere near done. It's a best of 5 finals after the full group.
Yeah.
So that's 5 games plus a finals of up to 5 games.
Yeah, and it's same format as like OSL. Though on this map, both players will place a pylon on the high ground because you can, get up there and do a lot of dirty tricks on the mineral, above the mineral line. So important to have vision there. And by dirty tricks, I just mean killing workers with dragoons and the like.
Oh yeah.
You can also scout. If you guys have never seen this map before, you can glitch a probe through the temple here if you make a pylon, and then you can get into the base and see what is up later on in the game. So that's something that will very likely come into play later on.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all about that. And right now we see them both going into that Dragoon range very, very quickly. This is not a surprising thing to see at all because, again, you glitched
there's
it up.
The scout.
But just to mention again, because this is so important for a matchup with Protoss involved, not having a ramp to sit up, you gotta have that in the back of your mind because your opponent can do things like just brute force through where the high ground gives you a 50% miss rate, right? So it's so defendable up a ramp.
Definitely true. Whereas, you have to rely more just on your Dragoon count and concave here. I believe this probe saw the Robo. In fact, they're both going for 1-gate Robo openings here. So this is one of the reasons why I like this map for this matchup is kind of it removes the random chance element of what scouting can get you because you could just get into the bag. Technically, if he had his Dragoon on the back, maybe he could have denied this scout, but then if the scout came in the front, maybe something else happens.
Well,
but
let's say you keep one Dragoon in the back and your opponent attacks you. You have one less Dragoon, and you might just lose the game because of that. So it's almost better to just let him scout you and do a normal build. And, I mean, you can see both these guys very confident in their PvP skills, as they very well should be.
Yeah.
Playing in that way, it's like, okay, well, you can scout me, but at least I'm not going to die.
Exactly. Looks like Stork is leaning towards a slightly faster Nexus here, which leads me to believe that Best is going to add that Robotics Bay for faster Reaver tech here. doesn't have a probe headed over to that location. Now, what we see Stork doing on the map is just putting out a little bit of pressure, putting out his feelers, wants to see if any move-outs are coming across the map to see if this Nexus is worthy of being planted or not, because if there was a move-out coming over and there were more gateways hidden somewhere on the map, for example, he'd find out about it right away. So it's just going to move back now.
Yeah, and look where he's zoned to, specifically up to those double minerals where a probe could push its way in. So he's also kind of concealing what he's doing. You get a probe in there, you see nothing, you know it's a Nexus, maybe you even get all the way around. But both sides going into this Reaver play, both of them with their Robos up near their naturals. I got to tell you though, looking at this, I like Stork's position a bit more. His Nexus is quite a bit quicker, and they're going for the same tech, which gives him an advantage.
Exactly, and the fact that his tech is slightly behind him, we're talking less than the build time of a robotic support bay, is so insignificant because during that window of time, nothing really happens, but having the faster Nexus will be able to give you a little bit of boost of faster mining to add your extra gateways to build up your Dragoon count. So, yeah, slight lead, but we're definitely heading towards a bit of a longer game here, as there's not really much either could do to kill one another at this moment in time, since they've both chosen such safe builds.
Yeah, to be honest, like looking at it, I think what we're seeing is, especially considering Best gets his observer in there first, he looks at that and says, oh, okay, you have a little bit of a lead on me.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the biggest deal. This is definitely something you can play your way out of.
And what often happens in a game that's this close is it could still end up being a one-sided game, but the determining factor often when builds are so similar is actually the control with Reavers and shuttles, Dragoon micro, your concave, your targeting of the shuttles, things like that. That can actually be what determines a game in this matchup when openings are so similar. Maybe a 4 or 5 Dragoon lead doesn't matter if they lose those trying to snipe your Reaver and fail to do so. See the gateways added in a little bit here, but both players, of course, first of all, playing it safe, getting shuttle speed, no doubt, so that they can micro when the time comes.
Yeah, they have their Reavers out, so any frontal attacks wouldn't make too much sense, but definitely going to have to be adding these gateways on. Nice pick off there on the Observer. That is always a really, really strong move. Definitely a little bit expensive as far as the gas goes, plus robo build time.
Yeah, robo build time is so annoying to have to replace that. Okay, shuttle moving out here.
It's like in PvP, if you open Reaver, you're always going to get a shuttle, 2 Reavers, and at least a couple observers. And occasionally you see people who go double shuttle, 4 Reaver, but that's not quite as common.
This is a fantastic probe spot. He's going to see the Reaver drop coming. And let's see if he can pull his probes. Ooh, that's going to get a few at least. No, maybe not.
It's not. Dudded Scarab. And in the meantime, the 2 Reavers at the front killed 2 of Best Dragoons.
Going to kill this probe for a Scarab. That'll be worth it, I suppose, by 25 minerals. The idea for Best here was to pull Stork's attention to the front and then drop in the back, but he was scouted, so Stork with a quick reaction. And yeah, Reavers do sometimes drop dud Scarabs. Had that explode, he probably would have gotten at least 4 probes.
Oh yeah, no, that could have been a great hit, but it was a nice probe pull there. It got kind of glitched out on the Dragoons. If the probes get in a line and you're targeting one that's not the back probe, it can glitch pretty easily. So good save there by Stork, who just continues to be in a good position.
Looks like he's just going to try to hit the Dragoons. Gets out here easily with this Reaver as well. The Reaver health loss, totally worth it.
That was really good, man. Killing 3 off right there. Very nice micro coming out of Best.
Stork doesn't have a shuttle just yet, possibly because he remade an observer. I don't see anything coming out here, so might have also just been supply blocked for a moment, but still no shuttle means that, and any confrontation as well, he might lose some units if he doesn't have, okay, there it is, the shuttle in position. So Stork went 2 Reaver for safety, whereas Best took the greedier opening, went 1 Reaver into shuttle for the attack, the aggressive play.
Well, now he's got double shuttle here, so this is going to be pretty interesting as he starts to move out. The shuttle of Stork coming down, they pass. And with these Dragoons coming up, though, is Stork going to get any damage done? Doesn't look like it. The shuttle has to turn around.
Okay, has Dragoons in position, though. Again, Stork on point with this.
By the way, you see all these pylons and stuff. It's not really worthwhile to unload your Reavers and kill pylons. It takes a long time, a lot of shots.
Yeah, and you're really not trading efficiently in terms of money because of the money spent for Scarabs, for example. You will trade more efficient with the pylon, but the time lost and the vision loss could cost you your shuttle.
And if they know where your Reaver and shuttle is for that long, it's almost like they're gaining advantage. I will give you a pylon, as many pylons as you want, if you just keep your Reaver there attacking them.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Alright, looks like he wants to trade some Dragoons here at the front. This is risky what Best is doing at this angle as well. Stork calls him out on it. I believe Stork has, no, he actually doesn't have an Observer on top of his army. Best could potentially get a little bit better vision of this before he tries to do an approach angle. Does pull his shuttle out of the main base as well. He's trying to use his double shuttles here to really put the extra pressure on.
That is a super hard thing to do, by the way. You notice that Stork is not going for the double shuttle currently. To control 2 shuttles and not lose them, because like the shuttle is something, in a PvP you see a shuttle, you snipe that so quickly, and Dragoons kill shuttles very, very quickly. They have ridiculous range, so it is a difficult thing to do, and we actually have not seen it pay off yet for Best.
Yeah, not really. I mean, he got the first shuttle got him some value when he skipped the second Reaver.
Yeah,
But since then, yeah, not so much. It looks like Stork is posturing to take a third base up to the top right. That is a gas base, so he can actually get a large advantage from taking that and can start to get out more High Templar, because Reavers can do so much for you, but at a certain point you can only micro so many shuttles, you can only get so much value, whereas Psystorm, you have such good range with that, such consistent poke, and it's cheaper, easier to produce, so you can get those late game High Templar to get you more AoE damage.
It really does a great job, especially things like defensively. If they're attacking into you, you kind of retreat and they run through Psystorms. And I tell you, it's actually a good counter to Reavers. You put one Psystorm down on the Reavers, I mean, it almost kills the shuttle.
Yeah.
It deals so much damage to the Reavers. It really helps you to clean everything up. And let's not forget, like, Dragoon Reaver is super strong early, but Archons and Zealots become very, very important later on. And this extra gas space is going to help that Archon count quite a bit.
The backdoor expansion that Best is taking will help him bolster his Dragoon count, but it won't be able to build a very large High Templar count, which is what he's eventually going to need. Archons and things like that, of course, can be very important as well. Looking to try to find something with this shuttle again, but it's just so unlikely. Oh, it's actually going to die DTs here.
I like that.
Yeah, this is just going to clean some vision. Very annoying to deal with.
That is super annoying, and with the speed shuttle, it's like, well, I guess you can walk up here with your Dragoons, send an Observer up and all that, but...
You might even add a Photon Cannon between the next 2 pylons he adds.
Okay, the Observer comes back. Looks like he should be able to pick off some DTs.
Now, if Best knew about the base of the top right, which I don't think he does, he would probably be trying to use these DTs to gain... Oh, nice block here.
Yeah, that was really nice.
He might try to use these DTs to try to find a window to drop a shuttle over here, for example, to find damage, but it doesn't seem like he realizes just yet that base is over there.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. We haven't seen an Observer up in that area. Stork's been doing a good job zoning that out. And in fact, this DT drop was the first confirmation that the back natural, that mineral base on the high ground, wasn't taken by Stork.
That's right. So twofold use of the DTs there. I like this hold position. If he's looking on the beam, oh, what? We didn't see that one right away, but that was a very nice storm drop. Cleared tons of probes, 10 total. Very nicely done. Archon just going to draw the army back here. Looks like he's finally sending something to the top right to try to scout this base, but he is intercepted. I saw that on the minimap there, so Best shut down in terms of vision. On the map, maybe I spoke too soon. It is sending something up there to check that base.
Something is on the way. It looks like a speed shuttle by its speed, but we'll see here in a moment. A couple of shuttles coming in right now by Stork. What does he have inside of there? 4 Reavers! That is a huge amount of damage.
He can actually start to hit on this Nexus as well. There's no way units get here fast enough to deal with that.
Best is just going to counterattack, and I don't blame him. What do? Run up the ramp against these Reavers and then they run away? Not worthwhile, but now he's lost a base. We need to see Stork go into a very defensive position now.
Okay, he is setting up here. He has several High Templar. Templar count's still pretty even here. Psystorms may determine everything. We'll have to pull back here. I like the arc here for Stork, not the whole army. Ready for Best, and he doesn't have Zealot speed.
Oh my god, his Zealot's slow still, even behind a Reaver. Look at that Psystorm going down on the Reavers as well. 4 Reavers dropped up by Stork. Best's gonna have to pull back. These slow Zealots doing very little.
Yeah, very little. The Reavers survive here for Best, however, and the Zealots are finally getting on top of this Dragoon army. Psystorm will clear this shuttle, so no more micro here. Just gonna try to get as good of a trade as he can here with the last of his units, but an incredible trade for Stork, who again has that third base still available, and these Zealots really take up a lot of the supply you see at the top right of your screen. Doesn't really tell the story because these are not going to be very useful compared to the Dragoons that now Stork can churn out.
That battle, if he had Zealot speed before it started, I think Best actually wins that battle.
Yeah.
And he should have. The 4 Reavers came in so late, right? That's a huge amount of supply, a huge amount of army for Stork that was out of position. But not having his speed quickly enough might knock him down into this loser bracket.
Oh, certainly so. You know, he knew it was coming up, but I think he just knew he couldn't wait either. It's such a tense moment where you have to make a tough decision like this. He's making a lot of speed zealots because of the lack of gas. Remember, the base he had to the 6 o'clock never had gas. It's now dead. So he didn't have a huge surplus of gas. You can see he's basically mined out of gas at the moment, whereas Stork's got a healthy count.
This is it for Best. He has one more attack left in him because he is down a base. Notice he's remaxing as heavily on Zealots as he possibly can. He needs to get a ton of units out, and he needs to get something done. I can't see him slowly working his way back into this game because Stork is going to be able to max on this economy.
Yeah, and now these shuttles are going to do the same thing again, and he's already back home, so he can't attack as quickly as he would have liked to as soon as these shuttles hit. Now, if he can attack before the shuttles come home, and he has enough speed zealots, maybe he could win the fight because of the thinned-out army of Stork. Let's see what decision he makes here. He's going to try to use a DT as well for additional damage.
Oh, I love the DT in here, mixing it up a little bit, dealing some extra damage to those probes, and just leaves with the Reavers.
Oh, look at the long time he's going to take to send half of his army across the map and try to punish this.
And during this time, Stork's 3-base economy is really working out. He's just macroing up, making a ton of units, continuing to get upgrades. He's not losing his Reavers. His 2 shuttles are still active. Man, Best is having a very hard time this game.
He certainly is. We are approaching max here. The problem is that Stork is just going to add additional gateways. He's going to have the larger Templar count. He already does. And I think best chance to, no pun intended, win a fight here would be to storm the Reavers and then overwhelm the Dragoons with the Zealot count that he has right now. Then just make Archons and go Hail Mary, hope for the best.
That's about it right there. I agree with you here. Okay, Best moving out right now. He's got to get all of his units together. You can look at the mini-map and see there's a bunch of units straggling behind still. Stork keeping his army grouped very well right now.
Still 4 Reavers available, and that's going to make quick work of the Zealots. That's why side-storming those shuttles is going to be key. If he side-storms the shuttles, there's less storms for the rest of Stork's armies. In such a tough spot, you can micro your way out of things like this sometimes, but he's definitely on a bit of a timer. As you can see, Stork is taking a 4th base as well. It's also a gas base.
Well, I mean, Best macro is on point as usual, right? He's doing a great job considering he lost a base earlier on here. Continuing to make a lot of Archon Zealot. But is he going to be able to actually break through here before Stork gets completely out of control?
Good question. Killing the Cybernetics core would be quite nice. Will at least eliminate Dragoon production temporarily. It's very annoying to deal with here. In fact, looks like he's just going to try to use some splash damage here. Oh, well, this is kind of silly. How this worked out. Didn't kill the core. Just ran away at the last possible moment there. So, +2 for these Dragoons versus, I believe, +2, yeah, so it's even upgrades. No spinning forge here for Best as he just cannot afford the gas.
Yeah, well, he's not getting +3. That is something that Stork will have ahead of him. It's actually hilarious, by the way, that Best maxes first here after losing that mineral base. I'm very impressed. Like, you know, both these guys members of the 6 Dragons, the 6 best Protoss players of their era. And Best always known for his macros, showing it here. This is a massive army now that he's attacking in with.
Okay, trying to catch some of this army kind of stuck out on a limb here. Psystorms weakening the army of Best as it approaches. Not all Zealots in position. Here come the Reavers. Best could certainly win this fight with these Psystorms on top of the Reavers. That's exactly what he needs here. He's got Archons at the front to tank too. If he can get a few more storms, I think Best certainly could win this fight.
That Psystorm on the Reavers there at the end as well. Just magnificent. Best continuing to try to punch through here. Only a couple Archons and Dragoons left for his opponent, but Stork might have enough here to hold on.
Stork just has so many more reinforcements than Best does because he has more money to spend at this stage, has a 4th base. So that was the best fight Best could have taken, was the exact Psystorms we were talking about right on the
Seriously,
Reavers.
Those were really good. And then even when he relocated to the Reavers to the back, another Psystorm landed on them. Very well done by Best.
Very decisive engagement by Best. I think it's the best way you could really sum up how that fight went. He found a weak point in Stork's army, stormed it twice, then found that Reaver. Already has Dragoons in position here. I don't know what this shuttle could really get done. I think it's probably DTs he wants to drop off here.
Yeah, maybe. Well, whatever it is pretty low on health, so he's got to be careful about it. Now, Stork's economy getting even further ahead with that 4th base that he has. He's continuing to macro. Best having a harder and harder time as we get further in this game with his smaller economy.
Yeah. Is it me, or do you think Stork could possibly add a few more gateways here? I feel like he's starting to get to a point where that 4th base is really going to allow him to add more gates. Uh-oh, High Templar not in position here. Does get Storms with him, though. Are they good enough? I'm not so sure. He's got a large Dragoon count to back this up. Oh, High Templar drop.
Man, and all this while he's fighting off the army right now of Best. And a lot of speed outs getting on top of those Dragoons. There's not much hope left here for our former SK Protoss.
Yeah, Observer will finally find this DT, but he doesn't have enough. GG. Stork just playing the better macro game. People have been critical of Stork's Protoss vs. Protoss in the past because of his safe play, but he actually had the later Nexus. It was realistically the fights he took and how he took them that allowed him such an advantage. And the movement to drop the shuttles there at the back, that first forced an evacuation of the middle line, then killed the Nexus.
Yeah, and he played very steadily after that, and if he had not played steadily, if he had ever tried to get aggressive after that point, I could see Best possibly taking this game away, but he stayed with it. Best did a great max out in time with Stork, hit a really strong attack with the same upgrades, hit his size storms. I mean, a lot of things went right for him there, but Stork just weathered it all.
Very well played, and now Stork will advance to face effort. Kind of a funny way we've gone to this winners match, not really what most expected. Most expected the Flash Best winners match.
I know, right?
So Stork has an opportunity to go directly to that grand finals. We can win the map Fighting Spirit in the PVZ. Before we go into that matchup, of course, we are going to take a short commercial break, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll see you guys in about 5 minutes' time for the PVZ.
Vi dắt xe giùm tao cái coi.
Chờ tao chút, sắp xong rồi.
Ủa mà ông nào ông đưa mày xài điện thoại thiệt hả?
Ừ, nhưng mà tao mượn xài có 1 năm mà.
Rồi đủ năm chưa?
Mới mượn qua.
Ê, là mày đưa tao mượn xài 364 ngày còn lại đi. Đủ năm tao trả ổng cho.
Xong. Nè, xe để tao dắt cho.
Mày không thích người ta á, thì đừng có mà thả thính. Làm như vậy á, là tạo nghiệp đó con. Mày đừng có mà gieo gắt nữa.
Má, cái chuồng con trai đẹp dữ rồi ba.
Ê nữa kìa.
Em mà đâu đẹp đâu.
Ừ.
Thôi kệ, có trai nhìn cũng được.
Nước cống tưới cây, phú quốc mà tắm cái gì? Lũ điên.
Mưa trôi để lại ngây thơ trong giấc mơ buốt lơi.
Dạ cảm ơn chị rất nhiều ạ. Vô mua bắt chính thầy giáo anh ơi, 35.000 đồng giá luôn đó luôn.
Mình hợp nhau đến như
Cho tôi hỏi sao em giả gái hoài vậy?
Dạ em nói chị nghe này nè, nếu như Hương Tràm là nam ca sĩ đi, rồi em làm đàn ông cho chị coi, hợp lý không?
Hợp lý.
Rồi cảm ơn chị. Mở lại khúc nãy giúp em.
ấm áp dịu dàng với anh, em đã bao lần niên xa nhìn trên cao khoảng trời yêu mà em đã dành cho anh. Giờ mây đến quyện thành bão giông tố đang dần kéo đến, trôi non háo hức đang đợi mưa, rất giống em ngày xưa. Mưa trôi để lại ngây thơ trong giấc mơ buốt lơi.
Vy ơi! Vy em ơi! Vy! Vy em ơi!
Có chuyện gì?
Cơm nước gì chưa?
Gì?
Ăn cơm chưa?
Em là có bị điên không?
Là giờ này mà ăn cơm chưa?
Chưa.
Trời đất ơi! Biết bây giờ là mấy giờ rồi không? 12 giờ khuya rồi đó. Khuya lơ khuya lắc rồi mà chưa chịu ăn cơm nữa. Sao mày không tự bảo vệ sức khỏe mày vậy? Mày biết sức khỏe quan trọng đúng không? Không có sức khỏe rồi không có làm được gì đâu. Không có bảo vệ được đất nước, làng xã, xóm gì, người thân, bạn bè mày đâu. Như thầy Vũ đó.
Thầy Vũ làm sao?
Lúc chiều nghe nói là lên cơn đau tim nhập viện rồi.
Hẹp quá, xa ra. Mày nói cái gì? Thầy Vũ nhập viện lúc chiều, bây giờ mày mới báo tao?
Thì lúc chiều nghe tin xong tao về nấu cơm ăn. Có sức khỏe tao qua tao báo cho mày liền nè.
Điên.
Xong chở tao đi á.
Cái xe này chở gì nữa mà nói.
Đi nhớ ăn cơm nha, đừng có bỏ bữa nha.
Tôi chưa chết bác sĩ.
Sợ lạnh. Trị đã được cắt bỏ
Thành công.
cắt bỏ xong. Người thân thiết có thể vào thăm viếng. Thăm.
Đừng lo lắng về em khi cứ đau và nhớ lắm, đành phải buông hết tất cả thôi. Nụ cười mím sau bờ môi ấm áp dịu dàng vai anh, em đã bao lần yên giấc. Nhìn trên cao khoảng trời yêu mà em đã dành cho anh, giờ bay đến quyện thành bão giông tố đang dần kéo đến. Trôi non háo hức đang đợi bước, rất giống em ngày xưa, cứ trôi để lại ngây thơ trong giấc mơ buốt lờ.
Nó tỉnh rồi, con có thể vào thăm con trai bắt được rồi đó.
Cảm ơn người mẹ phúc hậu ấy đã cho tôi một tình yêu thanh xuân thật đẹp. Cảm ơn mẹ đã cho con cái kết thật khác với bản gốc. Cho tụi con hạnh phúc bên nhau. Nhớ like và share nhé.
헤드셋은 제 목소리를 듣기 위해서 제 멍 씹는 소리 같은 거. 헤드셋을 껴야지 제 목소리 잘 들려가지고 저도 시국에서 돋아요. 그 씹는 소리 그런 거에 여러분 시국에 돋잖아요. 아 이건
안녕하세요. 안녕하세요. Xin chào mọi người, xin chào các fan của V-Live. Và Ngọc Anh đang ở Korea, là đất nước của V-Live đây rồi. Mọi người đâu rồi? Mọi người biết Ngọc Anh đang ở đâu không? Mọi người đoán đi nào, mọi người đoán đi. Có ai đoán được ra không á? Đây chính là đường phố cổ của thành phố Yeongju, Hàn Quốc. Đây hành trình lần này rất hello. Hành trình lần này thì Ngọc Anh được làm đại sứ của lễ hội văn hóa Hàn Quốc Expo 2017 giữa tỉnh Yeongju và thành phố Hồ Chí Minh. Và hôm nay thì Ngọc Anh sẽ được đi tất cả những cái địa điểm nào mà đẹp nhất và nổi tiếng nhất tại thành phố. Và mọi người cũng biết đây chính là Old Kingdom của Korea. Hello. No, I'm from Vietnam. Xin giới thiệu mọi người một chút, mình là
streaming Đủ mới nãy giờ cái câm nín rồi, nãy giờ chỉ có tao mình nói chuyện. nhắn nhắn thử đồ. Chắc được rồi đó, nãy tao mute cái mic. Không to lắm. Maximum. Hello nghe không? Hello nghe không? Hello. À, hello. Mày câm thử Skype đi, rồi xong rồi mày nghe thử trong mày nghe thử trên stream có nghe được tiếng nào không? Hello. Hello. Tao không nghe mày. Giờ nghe rồi đó. Ồ, chỉ khi nào mày nói trên Skype bên kia mới nghe được mà. Tại vì mày nói chuyện với tao qua Skype rồi từ đó mới lên stream được. Rồi giờ chắc nghe rồi đó. Giờ này trên stream nãy giờ nói gì? Kêu nó cài Skype trên điện thoại đi vô luôn. Skype đi làm bật YouTube được rồi, được. thấy Gia Lập chưa? Thấy Gia Lập chưa?
내 맘을
phải có cái gì đó.
Hi everyone, welcome to Disney Magical Dice.
Nó đi cho nổi.
Game start.
Vô game coi.
Selecting order. You are going first. Your turn. Six. Nine. Fortune card. Your turn.
Đủ cái này đè lâu nó phải.
Eight.
Phải gì? Má vô chưa mua đất mà xây nhà con mẹ luôn rồi. Đâu không phải.
Nine. Your turn. Eight. Your turn. 11. Fortune card. Select a square. Six. Nice. Your turn. Ten.
Mà phải là có nội dung nữa, bây giờ cứ nếu có gì hết chơi xàm xàm thôi, tụi nó vô tụi nó coi không thấy gì hay, hoặc là mình mở nhạc.
Your turn. Double. 12. Your turn. Double. 10. Your turn. 9. Select a square. Five. Your turn. 11. Five. All right. Your turn. 6. Landmark complete. 5. Wow.
Trò cực quá à. Gửi cái trò này cực. Cái trò này siêu ta.
Those Dragoons kind of sat there for about 2 or 3 minutes after the base was lifted because there was just nothing for them to do, nowhere for them to go. Vest looks a little bit frustrated here, but I think he had a pretty great run tonight, all things considered.
For 0-2, he played fantastically.
Yeah, like in both games he played, he really did, while behind, make fantastic moves.
Yeah, he really shows that he still is one of the greatest Protosses on Earth, but you know, when he's up against name players like Flash, Effort, and Stork, all champions, I guess he doesn't quite measure up in that name, nor in the games tonight.
Definitely not. Well, that final match, the Cider match, will be on Gladiator. That is going to be very exciting, a map we very rarely see in professional play. It will be between Flash and Stork, so tell your friends to get in here. Do not go away, because when we come back, that fantastic Decider is coming up.
Lên mấy cái trang tụi tôi stream coi tụi nó stream gì.
그램의 무게는 혁신의 시작일 뿐. 이번엔 사용 시간의 혁신. 시간을 그램한다. 모든 것의 재설계로 완전하게 새로워진 그램은 한 번 충전으로 무려 24시간. 그램의 혁신은 시간으로 이어진다. LG 그램.
Game, record, and stream without compromise.
ở bên Trung Quốc nó có cái trò giống
그램에게 무게는 혁신의 시작일 뿐. 이번엔 사용 시간의 혁신. 시간을 그램한다. 모든 것의 재설계로 완전하게 새로워진 그램은 한 번 충전으로
làm cái trò đó tôi nghe nói
무려 24시간.
100 tháng lương
그램의 혁신은 시간으로 이어진다. LG 그램.
mấy 100 tháng lương giống như là được thưởng 10 năm làm vậy. 10 năm đi làm được thưởng
Game, record, and stream without compromise.
Tencent
그램에게 무게는 혁신의 시작일 뿐. 이번엔 사용 시간의 혁신. 시간을 그램한다. 모든 것의 재설계로 완전하게 새로워진 그램은 한 번 충전으로 무려 24시간. 그램의 혁신은 시간으로 이어진다. LG 그램.
đau bụng cái mồm.
Game, record, and stream without compromise.
그램에게 무게는 혁신의 시작일 뿐. 이번엔 사용 시간의 혁신. 시간을 그램한다. 모든 것의 재설계로 완전하게 새로워진 그램은 한 번 충전으로 무려 24시간. 그램의 혁신은 시간으로 이어진다. LG 그램.
Game, record, and stream without compromise.
We're going to head into the replay of this game. We're going to take a look at some highlights, including this incredible Reaver. This got so many kills, even the Vultures it killed. Didn't save him in the end, but...
Yeah, he was never getting out of there alive. He knew that going in. This recall was really great, and there's like a lot of things about that move that I love. There's the calmness of Flash, and the way that he took out all these bases. Look at this. He even comes down, deals some extra damage. This was a really great game.
Yeah, this is a very impressive hold as well. Again, this is kind of the Alamo for best. If he lost it ever, it would have been the end of the game. ended up losing his army trying to protect it here at the end.
You know, yeah, that was kind of interesting, by the way, because like we saw so many good moments in this game and how close it was, but actually that one attack that Best ended up flanking, I think that was actually a mistake by Flash overall. Like when he initially started to push, eventually he lost his vultures, and it became pretty clear, right, that Best would hold.
Yeah, definitely. And it's definitely a little bit sloppy on the retreat or the disengage there, but he controlled the bases enough. When he wanted to kill a base, he got it. The only bases he couldn't kill were top left, but eventually that wasn't enough. And we saw some really good EMPs there at the end. You know, we talk about how expensive it is to build those Arbiters anyways, to get the Arbiter count up, to get the High Templar count up. You spend all this very limited gas that you have, and then when the EMP hits, it's like all your money just disappears in an instant.
And Flash is the best EMPer that I have ever seen, really. Like, EMP is one of the hardest spells to successfully cast. Its launch time is slow, its travel time is slow, its radius isn't that big, and yeah, so it's a little bit difficult to use, but I mean, the amount of times he hits stuff, and I'm like, I feel like his EMP comes out faster and has longer range than mine, personally.
It also feels like
crazy.
his science vessels have a faster turn radius when they retreat after
I
casting.
know, yeah, no, they get right out of there. So it's almost as if he's clicking quicker. I don't know.
Like
I don't get it.
Is he like patrol microing his like vessel and casting it in the middle of the patrol animation?
Oh my god!
I don't even think you can do that, but
that's a I love that idea. He's like, oh no, it's hold position. But
it's fantastic control on the EMPs, and he was ahead throughout the majority of that game realistically, but those EMPs just like put the last nail in the coffin.
They were really, really good. Okay, so Flash versus Stork. We're going to go into Gladiator. First time we're going to see it tonight. The pizza slice map, as I like to think about it.
Yeah, it certainly does look like a big pizza. A lot of toppings as well, but it's a very exciting map because you have rotational symmetry, and the third base is always give a defender's advantage to the player who is going up the ramp towards it, depending on where you spawn. We'll talk about it more as we get into the game because it's hard to explain this without jumping into it. I don't know if we're going to have a map description for this one, since this is the decider match here. We might just go straight into it. Sounds like we are, but we'll talk about the map as we get into it, guys. Flash versus Stork. Only one will go on to the finals to face effort. We're going to jump into it. Oh, we might be checking out the map instead. My bad.
Sound like the Korean commentators.
Yeah.
That's what we're checking out right now. That look, man. Look at that look.
Sound like the Korean commentators want to jump into the game. Will be the map instead. So it almost looks like a money map at first glance. Like it almost looks like it's an 8-player, like fastest map possible. It's a 4-player map. You have your natural, which is raised. Main base is on the low ground, and then the third base that you want to take the one that you go up the ramp that's away from your opponent. Otherwise you'll be vulnerable to attack because your opponent has a faster attack path and you have a defensive path.
You know what? I always thought of it as a pizza map, but now looking at it with all those ramps, it kind of reminds me of like all the greatest asteroids ships came and met together here on this map.
It's all the Star Destroyers.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, it looks like an Imperial logo as well, a little bit.
Yeah.
It also kind of looks like a sea urchin. It looks like a lot of things, Artosis.
It really does. And
it doesn't make me think of gladiators at all.
No, I agree with you on that. Just as Gold Rush does not remind you of a Gold Rush whatsoever.
Yeah. Skull Desert, much more appropriate name.
Yeah. The foreigners need to start naming all the maps. This should be the deal. Okay, you guys win the tournaments, let us name your map.